Joining us now for more on the coup in Honduras and what it means for the region and the United States, Christopher Sabatini, Senior Director of Policy for the Council of the Americas here in New York and a World Focus regular. Good to have you back, Chris.
Thanks again, Martin.
So what does this really mean as far as this coup that's taken place in Honduras? Why should we care as Americans, and what impact does it have on our interests in the region?
Well, since 1978, which was the first democratic transition, Peru and Ecuador, really U.S. foreign policy has been built around our relationships in the hemisphere, diplomatic and economic, with democracies. These are 2 decades of democratic government. This represents a real crisis in terms of backsliding. It's positively retrograde. Here we have military officers storming a presidential palace, kidnapping him, putting him on a plane and taking him out and then swearing in someone else. This doesn't seem like the Latin America of the last 2 decades. It's a throwback.
It goes against the ideals that we support, but how does it affect our interests in the region?
Well, first of all, human rights. Human rights have been getting progressively better in the region over the last 2 decades. Military government being able to, at will, remove an elected president is simply an erosion of human rights. But second, economically, Honduras is part of the Central American Free Trade Agreement with the United States, and implicit in that is that those governments remain democratic.
I had read somewhere that this coup, apparently the United States had a heads up about it, and they were trying to intervene to prevent it.
Yes, this was a train wreck that started a few weeks ago. First of all, the president was trying to amend the Constitution to allow himself to run for another term. To do so, he had to basically overcome the opposition of the Congress. So he was going to convene a plebiscite. Now in Honduras, to convene a plebiscite, the army has to do all the logistics. And the army refused to go along. So he removed the head of the armed forces, the defense minister resigned. And it was very clear right then that you're looking at a deadlock between the armed forces and the president. And at that point, the U.S. tried to resolve it, but the armed forces refused and pulled out of the negotiations.
Who's in control of the country now, and what's the agenda?
Well, they've sworn in an interim president, the former Speaker of the Congress, the Senate, and the Supreme Court has declared the coup legal. However, internationally, pressure is really building to get the president reinstated. He's right now in Nicaragua with Hugo Chavez and a few other members of what are called the Elba nations, Cuba, Bolivia, as well as a number of Central American presidents. Right now, I think the best scenario would be to somehow return the president to Honduras, but also engage in some sort of process of dialogue that resolves the very deep divisions that led to this.
Given the leftward leanings of the president that's just been ousted, why would the United States be so concerned about wanting him back?
Because again, it's not about who's in power, it's about the process itself. And once you break that idea that elected presidents and constitutions are sacrosanct and terms should be fulfilled, you begin, again, down that long road of those dark days of disappearances and human rights abuses. It doesn't matter who's in power. The truth is the Constitution has to be obeyed.
Chris Sabatini, thank you.
Thank you.